Assalamualaikum and good morning, everyone. Today we will be discussing a very common topic that is still widely discussed to this day, and that is the advantages and disadvantages of living in a hostel. My name is Ainur Amani binti Abdulaziz, and I am the moderator for this public forum. From what we know, living in hostels has become a common experience for many students and workers who need accommodation away from their hometowns, and it is safe to say that college students will experience the life of hostels at least once in their life. While hostel life offers opportunity for residence development, it may also present challenges in day-to-day life. As a result, the experience of living in a hostel remains a topic for interest and discussion among students, educators, and parents. Hence, we have six panelists today who will be discussing their opinions of this matter. I would like to thank them for their cooperation for being here. To my left, we have Miss Nursaida Afika, a student who likes to explore new things in new environments. And the woman beside her is Mrs. Fatih Nur Shahira, a parent who wants to save the living costs of her child. And the woman at the far left is Miss Wan Zakia Zara, a hostel warden who aims to create a safe community for the residents. And to my right is Miss Mariam Humaira, a student who used to live in a hostel but is currently living off campus. And the woman next to her is Mrs. Nor Alia Maisara, a parent that disagrees with the strict rules that hostels impose on her child. And the gentleman at the far right is Mr. Mohammed Fahim Adli, a student who is bothered by the auditory distractions that happen in hostels. Now that we have completed the instructions, let us begin with our discussion. All right then, Miss Afika, could you explain to us in better detail on how living in hostels can make you residents discover new things? Thank you. Assalamualaikum and good morning to our moderator and fellow panels. Today our forum will discuss the benefit of living in a hostel. As a first panel, I would like to talk about cultural exchange among the students. Living in a hostel gives a student the opportunity to meet friends from different state and background, allowing them to learn and appreciate different culture. Firstly, students can learn about different culture, traditions, and dialect from friends who come from a different state. This helps them to understand and respect other culture differences while improving their communication skill. Moreover, students can experience a variety of traditional foods from a different states. For example, we have a various type of laksa, right? We have a laksa Penang, laksa Johor, and laksa Sarawak. With this allow them to appreciate Malaysians' culture diversity. Lastly, culture exchange helps students to build a friendship with us from with people from a different background. As a result, students become more open-minded and create a harmonious hostel environment. That's all. All right, thank you for your input, Miss Afika. Now, Miss Mariam, could you tell us the reason why you chose to live off campus after your experience living in a hostel?
Okay, thank you, Miss Moderator. First of all, I would like to thank Miss Afika for for enlightening us and the audience with such insightful sharing just now. Nevertheless, as a student who used to stay in a hostel but is now living off campus, I would like to take a different view on this matter. Although it is said to be beneficial and convenient for students, living in a hostel also comes with several disadvantages. And as for me, the reason why I choose to live off campus is due to the lack of privacy in hostel. Living in a hostel means living in the same bedroom as other students or residents, and you always stand the chance of having someone else in the room at the same time as you. This will definitely pose significant difficulties, especially when a room is consisted of more than two residents. I believe that this is especially inconvenient when there are privacy matters that we need to handle it alone. For instance, when you want to change your clothes, need to make or take any phone calls, or simply requires a personal space and time to be alone. These circumstances, together with no proper privacy provided, will result in discomfort and prevent students from fully relaxing and enjoying their living environment. Now, as I mentioned earlier, privacy matters, including one's personal space, is often compromised when staying in a hostel. Personal space is so important for students' development as it allows them to express themselves freely and comfortably. The absence of it, however, may prevent students from doing so, since they are sharing a room with others, limiting their freedom to relax, reflect on their thoughts, and carry out personal activities without interruption. To add to that, the lack of privacy may also affect students' mental well being, especially to those who are not fond of being constantly surrounded by people and prefer a more peaceful environment. Some individuals may get easily stressed by crowded environments and struggle to cope with constant social interaction, resulting in emotional distress and mental fatigue over time. As a result, not only it affects their daily lives, but it can also hinder their ability to concentrate on their studies since the constant presence of others can make them feel mentally deprived of the opportunity to unwind in a private and comfortable space. Therefore, although living in a hostel offers numerous benefits, the lack of privacy will remain as its significant drawback. Lacking personal space will indeed affect students' comfort, freedom, emotional well being, and overall quality of life, making off campus accommodation a preferable option for those who value privacy and independence. That's all for me.
Okay, thank you so much for telling your experience, Miss Mariam. All right then, on to the next panelist. Mrs. Fatin, why do you think it is fitting for your child to stay in a hostel?
Thank you, Miss Moderator. And thank you, and also thank you to Mariam for bringing up the issue. But nonetheless, as a parent, I think living in hostel is actually cost saving because not everyone could afford to rent a house. Even though some of them would share the pay with their friends, as it still would differ because some of us came from different backgrounds with different incomes too. So it is convenient for them to stay in the hostel. And besides that, I think it is effective from the aspect of transportation, especially on the funds, because for students who live in hostel, they don't have to order transportation like Grab to go to college, especially if they do not have a driving license nor owning a vehicle, as it would complicate them due to the waiting hour and payments if it gets too expensive, mostly during the peak hour or lunch hour if they want to go back to their home. Next, I think would be efficient as they wouldn't need to waste money on groceries because they would be cooking every day, and I think it would be a waste. And the food at the college cafeteria is also affordable, and it is easy for them to get it as it's very accessible too, and it because it's near their hostel. That's all from me.
All right then, thank you so much. Now, Mrs. Alia, why are you hesitant in placing your child in a hostel?
Thank you, Miss Moderator, and thank you, Miss Fatin, for highlighting the cost effectiveness. However, as a parent whose child is studying in a college, there are another disadvantage of living in a college hostel that concern me, which is the strict rules and regulation imposed on students. Most college hostels have policy regarding curfew, visitor access, and student movement outside the campus. These rules are generally implemented to maintain discipline, ensure safety, and create a structured living environment. However, despite their good intentions, some students may find this regulation restrictive. For example, my child has been told that students are required to return to the hostel by 7 p.m. on weekdays. Because of this, my child may not have enough time to go out for personal activity, spend time with friends, or visit places such as night market. So my child have need to rush back to the college before the curfew time. Furthermore, if my child returns late, their student ID card may be confiscated and only returned after 2 or 3 days. During this period, my child is not allowed to go for outing or overnight because the student ID card is required for permission to leave the campus. As a result, some students may feel that this punishment is quite restrictive and affect their freedom even after the initial offense. Therefore, the issue is not whether rules are necessary, but whether the rules are balanced. While students need guidance and protections, they also need opportunity to develop responsibility and independence as a young adult. This raises an important question for discussion like should college provide more flexibility in hostel regulation for responsible students or a strict rule and penalty necessary to maintain discipline and safety? I think that's all. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Now, as for you, Ms. Zakia, as a warden, why do you think it is a fitting choice for students to stay in hostels?
First of all, thank you, Miss Moderator and Miss Leah, for your opinion. As a hostel warden, I see what happens in the student dorms every single day. From my experience, one of the biggest benefits of staying in a college hostel is community living, which simply means living together as a group. To begin with, living together with students from different backgrounds creates a very special social atmosphere. For most students, moving into the hostel is their very first time living away from their parents and their hometowns. When they first arrive, they come from different cities, have different habits and different culture. But because of they share the same space, they start to change. They eat together, study for exam together, and talk to each other when they feel stressed. Through these activities, students naturally create strong and long-lasting friendship. They build a support system where they help each other. For example, if a student is homesick or sick, their roommates are there to take care of them. This really builds a strong feeling of community and belonging. Of course, living with many different people is not always easy. Sometimes there are small disagreements, but as a warden, I help them talk through these issues. This teaches them how to be patient and how to respect others and also how to share. I think that's all from me.
All right then, thank you, Ms. Zakia. Lastly, Mr. Fahim, as a student, why does staying in hostels make you feel uncomfortable?
All right. First of all, thank you to Miss Moderator for handling our session so well, and thank you, Miss Zakia. So today, I want to talk about an issue that I personally face almost every single day in the hostel, which is noise and distractions. While hostel's life is fun, the noise level can get completely out of hand. It really disrupts my life as a student, and today, I want to share my experience based on three main points. First of all, the noises make it impossible for me to focus. I've been in this situation so many times. It's midnight. I have a big test or an assignment deadline the next morning, and I'm trying my best to study in my room. But outside my door, people are shouting in the corridor. My neighbor is screaming while playing games, and someone else is blasting music. My room is supposed to be my quiet space, but instead, it feels like I'm trying to study in the middle of a night market. I can't even read one page of my notes without losing focus. Secondly, this constant noise literally ruins my sleep and my health. Because other students stay up making noise until 2 or 3 a.m., I cannot sleep early. I wake up the next day completely exhausted. I go to class sleepy and I can't even pay attention to what the lecturer is teaching. It creates so much unnecessary stress and mental exhaustion for me when I just want to get some rest after a long day of classes. For my last point, it's about fairness. Like everyone else, I pay my hostel fees to have a proper safe place to stay and support my education. I did not pay to live in a loud party house, so it is just not fair that I have to sacrifice my sleep, my mental health, and my grades just because some students choose to be selfish and loud. And I think that's all from me.
All right, thank you for your insight, Mr. Fahim. And that would be the end of our discussion. Once again, I would like to thank everyone who attended this session and poured all their heartfelt comments about this topic. We had three students with very different perspectives in their own way, two parents who prioritize their children, and a warden who only wants the best for her residents. That the claims made today are varying in their stances. Be that as it may, it is the residents' duty to actively develop good communication, responsibility, and time management skills to make the most of the opportunities provided in hostel life. Additionally, hostel management should continue improving living facilities and support services. continue improving living facilities and support services to create a more comfortable and productive environment for residents. With that, I conclude today's forum. Thank you to everyone here for engaging in this discussion and have a nice day.